In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Now we have finished page 48 and 7 and 8. Actually, we began our discussion this week with page 45 and finished on page 48. Now I want to continue with, in fact, a new type of idea that appears on page 49, and this is, in fact, the states of the language faculty. Well, now we are deep inside. We are now deep inside second language acquisition. We are now away from Chomsky's idea. We are going to say how Chomsky's idea actually works with the first language. So we are talking about the language faculty generally and how it is in fact acquired by humans. If you actually go to page 49, there's a, in fact, figure called figure 2.1. Okay? It is the state of the states model of the development of language faculty. So there are different states of the language faculty. How is it? First of all, there's an initial state, which is the universal grammar. That's when the child is born, he actually or she actually has got something called language faculty. But there is no language in it. There is no language in it. That's why babies are not able to talk. Okay? Babies are not able to talk. And when they talk, they begin to talk the language they are exposed to. So, for Iraqi students, Iraqi babies, it is like this that they develop Iraqi Arabic. Okay? Before that, they don't have any language. Suppose that an Iraqi baby is born to an Iraqi father and an Iraqi mother. Both parents are in Iran. Okay? And suppose originally they are from Iraq. But actually they speak Farsi in Iran. Or they speak English in the United States, in Canada. What happens? The child develops that language. Only and only when the parents actually talk that language. So, we are born with no language in this way, but we have got something like universal grammar. All human beings, we are born with this universal grammar. So what do? We actually develop our first language according to the environment, according to the parents, what kind of parents we are exposed to, okay? So because our parents speak a specific type of language, we speak that language. Now, going to page figure 2.1 once more, we see that there are two states here. Initial state, there is only universal grammar and no language at this time. Okay? By and by, little by little, okay? Well, we come to the conclusion that we have got a kind of internal language, I language, okay? My internal language is Farsi. Your internal language is Arabic. Okay? We call this internal language as I language. Remember, we talked about it earlier. And there's the steady state. What does it mean? We have got everything and we can use it in any time we want. Whether we, in fact, We are, in fact, 10 years old, 50, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, older than that, younger than that. We have got the steady state. It means that we don't continue to, in fact, develop our language. So, first of all, we have something like initial state by the child where there's no, in fact, language. There are intermediate states in between up to the time we have steady state. Okay? So if you want to, in fact, have a good understanding of something like this states model, we call it as a states model. Let us go to the next page, page 50, and have a very good idea, have a good look at the states model in its totality. What appeared on page 49 was something very easier, much easier, but let us go to page 50 and have a nicer look and a more detailed look at the development of language faculty, 0 to final states. Remember, this page is important for you. From now on, we are going to, in fact, refer to this page later, okay, in the later chapters. So, what is it? To the left, there's a box containing initial state, okay? We call this initial state as S0, S0, okay? So it is, what do we have there in initial state when the child is born, but there is no language yet? He or she has got line one below it. He or she has got something, we call it as universal grammar, a kind of grammar which enables her to continue, in fact, to develop language. Below the second line, it is written principles such as locality is there. Principles are those things that all languages have, okay? And parameters. Well, of course, the parameters are there, but let us see. Well, we have head initial language or head final, head initial or final, in fact, parameter. So a language like for example, Arabic is considered as a head initial language maybe, or head final. A language like Farsi is a kind of, let's say, head initial or final. Or do you remember that Japanese was opposite to English? Remember. So it was like this, that there are two positions, there are two, in fact, possibilities, but these possibilities are not yet valued or set, not yet set. So we say there are parameters as well, but the parameters are unset. And finally, we have the lexicon. What was the lexicon? I told you that the lexicon means the vocabulary. Okay? We have got the vocabulary in our minds, but later, when we are, in fact, 1 year of age, 2 years of age, okay, 3 years old, 4 years old, etc., we actually by and by develop those vocabulary, okay? So lexicon is there, but unfilled. Well, actually, it is the time that the mother actually comes to say, or the father comes to say, well, today my son or my daughter developed this new piece of vocabulary. So, for example, the word mother or father appears first. Okay? So what